guess I'll ask the obvious question. With Charlie out, just what the comfortability you have with Rex, and just what how does that somewhat seamless, if it does, make it maybe a little bit easier transition for this game?
It's helpful that he was here during the preseason, and we got a lot of work, throughout training camp and our operation with the field goal in, with the punt operation. So to be able to handle this game.
How did he get hurt?
It was really friendly fire on one of the punt covers toward the end of the first half. It was the second to last punt in the first half.
I mean, just how valuable is Charlie in general? I mean, I think it's 152 straight games, so he's been such a constant for this organization.
Yeah, he's a great leader for our group. He does a nice job with, I would say, that our communication overall for that unit, both on punts and on field goals. He is our captain. He leads the team. The players meeting on Fridays post-practice. He does a good job with those young players and bringing those guys along. So he's been a great player for our team and this organization for the last however many years.
So did you guys vote another captain for the time being, or not?
We have not. No, we haven't.
No need.
Not sure. Yeah, I don't know if we will get to that or not. That'll be on coach.
Bubba, how have you seen guys kind of handle this week, kind of all the adversity swirling around? Just how have you seen guys handle it in the building here?
I think Kevin's done a nice job as far as having everyone, solely focused on this game. How can we go 1-0 and get this thing rolling? Because we all believe that we need to do more, and we need to play better. We need to coach better, and I think that everyone has been receptive to that and understanding that we all just have to do a better job.
Bubba, you guys signed Tony Brown to the active roster today. Just what has he meant as special teams player for you, and what have you seen from him this season?
Tony's a really good player for our unit. He has a lot of versatility. He's a corner, but he plays physical like a safety. He's tough. Like I said, he is physical. He can run. He has position flex on multiple phases. He's an impact player for us on our punt unit. He and Mike at the gunner position. Those are two really good players on the perimeter, and those guys give you a shot to have a successful play on that unit.
But with Rex, I mean, he's been trying to do this for a long time and hasn't ever snapped in a game, where he's kind of bounced around for a while. Is that just the nature of that position, that there's not a lot of turnover there?
There is not a lot of turnover at that spot, and I would say with specialists overall, I would say typically more snappers and punters. Sometimes it takes those guys to just really get an opportunity to show what they can do. Like you said, there's not a lot of turnover at those positions, and you get comfortable with the guys that you have and the familiarity. But I mean, credit to him for sticking with it. I've seen a lot of guys over the years that has stuck with it and ended up landing jobs. Like one that comes to mind is a kid that I watched growing up was Christian Kuntz, the snapper for Pittsburgh. Went to my high school, was a linebacker, converted to snapping, didn't really earn a job until a few years ago, and now he's been a really good player for Pittsburgh. So I think really a lot of times it just comes down to opportunity and then taking advantage of the opportunity when you get it. So hoping that he goes out and does a nice job for us. They're comprised, I would say they've got a good backer group. 57 Van Summeren is good. 42 Burks is a good player. They drafted a kid, the Trotter kid from Clemson. I think overall they're a pretty solid group overall. Obviously, they have a really good kicker in Jake Elliott, and he's hit a lot of big kicks in his career, so that's a guy that we're going to have to account for. The punter does a nice job, Braden Mann. They got him from New York. And then the returner, there's a lot of returners that they could use. I coached Isaiah Rogers in Indianapolis. I think he's a really good player. So there's a lot of guys we're going to have to account for, and we're going to have to step up to the challenge and be able to do some things in the kicking game. Control the field.
How has Naheem looked so far, and how close is he to being a factor in this special teams?
I think he's improving. I talked to him last night. He feels like this is the best he's felt since everything had happened, since he's been back. I think he's close. Yeah, I think he's close, and he gives us really the dual returner in being able to do both punts and kickoffs. So, and he can run, and he's had a lot of production in his career, both with me and in Buffalo. So,
Possibility he suits up Sunday.
I mean, I think there's a lot of possibilities that could happen. So, I think you always evaluate as the week goes along, and then make a decision at the end of the week. But those things are definitely on the table.
But the 50-yard field goals being more common, it's become more common in the game, making the 50-yard field goal. I remember when, if you made a 50-yard field goal, that was headline worthy. Not to say that they are now, but are kickers just stronger today than they were in previous generations, or why do you think there's been this increased success from beyond 50 yards that we're seeing now?
Yeah, kickers in the league. If you just look around, I mean, we have a good one. Even the teams that we've played already to this point, I mean, you have Aubrey, Carlson. Those guys are talented. Obviously, Kaimi Fairbarn has had a really good year already. He's hit I want to say almost double-digit 50-yard kicks to this point. I think he has maybe 9 or 10. So he's been a weapon for Houston, and that position it's a critical position that you have a really good player there, because it's a points position. Sometimes it goes overlooked, but that's one of the most, if not, the most important position besides the quarterback, I would say.
How much do you think it is just coaches' willingness to try the field goal? It seemed like in the old days, not the old days, but you get within the 35, whatever, and you're like, okay, we're in that weird range now.
To settle for, yeah. I think it always goes on, how the game's being played, the situation in the game. So I think that the flow of the game, how many points you feel like you're going to need to be competitive in the game, So I think that everything factors into it. But yeah, I would say that you're seeing a lot more attempts from over 50 yards.
Remember when the K-ball was a big deal? Because how long did that start?
I'm not sure, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, and there's a big difference between kicking a regular football and kicking a kicking ball, a K-ball. Huge difference. They feel completely different.
Which one's easier than the regular ball?
The K-ball is definitely easier to kick than a normal football.
What's the not to get too technical, but what is the difference between the two?
Well, they allow you to a hit. It just enables There's a lot of things that go. I don't know all the mechanics. The equipment guys will be able to tell you more on it, but
What have you seen from Kadarius Toney in his couple of weeks practicing?
that guy's got a skill set. He's fast, explosive. He's really good with the ball in his hands. He can make you miss. He's hard to tackle. He's a strong runner. But we've seen his development. He was a little nicked up when he got here, starting to see him more, I would say, in practice. So he's a good player.
You
Last one.
you alluded to this earlier, just Kevin's steadiness when things aren't going well. You've been around a lot of coaches. What is it about his character or what have you that allows him to, keep guys focused during these tough times?
Yeah, I think Kevin has done a really good job. Since I've been around him, since I got here last year, I feel like the one thing he has been consistent with his approach in every facet, even when we haven't had the results like we haven't as of late. And then keeping everyone focused on the task at hand. Like right now, what we're trying to do is win this game this week, but we're just trying to do everything we can to put a good product on the field and beat Philly.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bob.
games.
Yeah.
Washington seemed like one of his worst games. So where do you go from here with him?
I think, the biggest thing that the approach we have to take whether it's the quarterback room or the whole offense, is we got to grind. You know, we got to go in, work our tails off, and you know, do whatever it takes for us to go out and focus on this week and winning this week. And the only way to do that is take advantage of today, you know. And I think that's the big thing. We just got to preach, you know, to our guys, to our players, to the building, everybody in here. The only way to go ahead and go out here and get a win this week is by focusing on this week. And obviously we're going to learn from things that happened last week, whether it's through adjustments, whether it's through execution, those types of things. But the focus has to be on this week and not letting one game become a second game for us, and just really kind of grinding through it and working, you know. And that's the only way that I know to get through tough times, is everybody goes through it, whether it's work or life, right? I mean, I've gone through tough times in work and life, and the only way to get through it is not anything other than just keep grinding through it and keeping an attitude of, I'm going to get this thing going in the right direction.
And it just, from the outside looking in, it just looks like everything's broken. From the passing game to the run game, blocking, the quarterback, the receivers. Just, if it can go wrong, it feels like it is going wrong for you guys right now. So when you have that volume of issues that you have to correct mid-season, just where do you begin?
Again, I think the big focus when things don't work out the way you want to is going back and just identifying, all right, where can we be better? Where can we coach better? Where can we execute better? And just that understanding, like we talked about last week, of the ownership of it takes all 11 on the field to execute an offensive football. So I think those are the biggest things you focus on. You go back and you make sure that as coaches we're doing the things that we feel like is best to attack an opponent. Keep a identity that we want to keep, and then making sure that we are going out and focusing on, hey, we got to win today to help us on Sunday, you know. And I think those are the big things. Is you got to take ownership not only of Sunday, but that starts throughout the week. It starts through preparation of knowing what to do, how to do it, and I think our guys have done a good job in preparing. It's just, you know, you just want to keep taking those steps and keep stacking good days of work together during the week, so that then you could go out and just think, you know, play without thinking and play free on Sundays and fly around and play fast.
What makes you feel like Deshaun can still play winning football?
Mm-hmm. I think we've got, obviously, you know, a lot of faith in Deshaun. I think for us, it's about, you know, everybody's got to do, got to be better on the offensive side of the ball. It's not just a point the finger at one person, anything like that. As coaches, as players, we all have to do better. It takes all 11, and it takes more than 11 in offense, because you got the coaches, you got, you know, the look team on you know, giving us a good look during the week. You got guys who, hey, this route was for so-and-so, but all of a sudden something happens in the game, his shoelace broke. Hey, somebody else got to come in and run it, and we got to take ownership of that. So it takes all 11, and it takes that mentality to be able to do that. And I think that's what I think we've had here in the past, and I think that's something that we're going to continue to harp on, because in the NFL, that's just a matter of a fact of the matter. No one's going to feel sorry for you. You got to come out, you got to go out, and you got to grind, you got to work. You got to put yourself in position during the week to go out and have success. And there's a lot of pride in this building, and we're going to make sure we're doing that each and every week.
And on the broadcast, Greg Olson kept talking about the amount of shotgun on first and second down, and that he said a lot of teams that do that have the threat of a quarterback run, but Deshaun's not really running that much. So do you think that's a factor in some of the struggles, is that you're in shotgun so much in early downs and not doing the play action?
No, yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think what we try to do when we are in the gun and when we self-scout things, to make sure that we're not one-dimensional in any piece of our game, whether it's gun or under, you know. And I think that's the big thing for us, is looking at our gun reps and what we're doing to make sure that we're mixing in the action game with the run game, with the RPO game, with the movement game, all those different things, and making sure we're balanced there. So that is a weekly thing you look at to make sure that if we are in the gun, as much as we've been and as much as we were, that we're still being balanced in there, whether it's gun, pistol, back strong, back weak, and different styles of play when you're there, so that team can't just tee off on you knowing that you're going to only be in this protection, only be in this scheme.
And when Deshaun talked about how two high safeties, how teams have been using two high safeties against you guys, how can you guys use the run game to help open up the pass game when you are facing two high safeties like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that when you look at it, you want that balance of attack no matter what you're doing. And you got to be able to run the ball versus a one high safety or a two high safety. And we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to play physical, let our guys come off the ball, attack. And I think that's where, that mental mindset of let's go attack. Let's go get after them, whether it's run or pass game. But I do think in that two-eye shell, whether it's an execution piece on the pass game and protection, routes being in the right spots and making the right decision and allowing our guys to have rack, or in the run game, it all comes down to that execution piece. It all comes down to all 11 guys doing their job, not only for the success of the play, but for each other, and our line trusting that, hey, the backs are gonna do their job. Our backs trusting that the quarterback's gonna do his job. The receivers trusting that the tight end's gonna do. All that trust just comes into play in offense football, so that you could play fast mentally and not have to worry about anything.
I'm sure you've talked with Deshaun about scheme and defense and all that. Have you felt the need to talk to him about just his overall confidence level and state of mind?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day is something that if we come out and we're better as a unit, I think our focus is field just executing that play, and I think that's the big focus for us more so than anything. It's like, hey, let's focus on winning this play. Focus on this play every single play. We win that play, then move on to the next play and focus on that play and win.
On the left side. I think Deshaun yesterday said he was anticipating Jerry going in a different direction. So is that one of those choice routes that there was miscommunication, or what happened there?
No, and again, I love getting into the specifics of reads and things like that. But I think that was a play where we've got crossers coming across the field, where to start with our eyes and things like that. What I mean? So I think that's a big part of that play, is just from a coaching standpoint, making sure I'm coaching it better, making sure that I'm putting our guys in position to make sure that when we progress through the reads, put our eyes in the right spot, get our work those progressions and things like that. So I do think that's one of those where it happens really fast on you, and all of a sudden things are crossing, things are condensed spaces. So that's something that I can improve on as a coach right there.
There weren't a lot.
I think that the players are, focused on and being successful this week, and I think that's the most important thing for us is going out and being successful this week. And I think that's the buy-in that our players have. That's the buy-in that the building has, and that's our sole focus on the whether it's today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. We're focusing on right now. We're focusing on this week. We're focusing on going out and winning this.
How did you think he did, and do you think he can stabilize the line a little bit if he can stay in there left tackle for you?
Yeah, definitely good to see him out there and come back out there and you know, be able to do a lot of good things for us. So definitely good step for him to be able to come out and be productive out there, be athletic, be physical, and do the things that he was able to do. So very excited that he's back out there and you know, being himself and being able to play free and play like he's capable of playing.
And I know you guys converted only one of the 13 third downs again last week, and I think the average was like 3rd and 8 that you guys faced. So is the third down problem essentially still just like being better on 1st and 2nd down at this point?
I definitely think, you know, that's going to help the third down numbers. You know, anytime you could have that 1st and 2nd down production to give yourself, you know, a good chance on 3rd and shorter yardages, that's going to definitely help you. You know, so I think that's always a focus for us is staying in the green and having good 1st and 2nd down production. You know, and then again, it all, I think it falls back to just all 11 of us out there doing our job, you know, like we're capable of doing, whether it's no matter what the situation, what the down distance, backed up, ahead of the game, you know, behind in the game, 3rd down, 1st down. It comes down to, hey, all 11 guys, you know, being a little bit better, focusing on our execution and creating a spark for us, you know, and creating that play that, you know, we know we're capable of making and just going out and doing that consistently.
And that last one, I want to go back to that goal-to-go situation in the 3rd quarter, because I think you guys had 3 mental mistakes in the span of like 4 plays, and it really showed on that 4th down where Deshaun noticed there was 12 men in the huddle, and he had to walk to the sideline. Kevin was beside himself. Just what causes that particular situation to occur, and why has that been so frequent these first 5 weeks where there's been so many mental mistakes?
I think again, it just comes down to all of us being better. You know, in that situation on the 4th down, we got to be significantly better communicators coming from starting with the sideline and then coming in and out of the huddle. Make sure we're communicating personnel so that everybody's on the same page. You know, so it starts with communication. It starts with us as a coaching staff, making sure we're doing that with our players on game day during the week. And then again, I can't harp on enough. Like it really does take all 11 of us, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing that you've got to, you know, in offensive ball, just that execution piece of everybody just focusing on doing my job, you know. And at times it's going to take doing a little bit more during the week, you know, to make sure that on game day we can play free without thinking and go out and fly around. And that creates a high level of execution, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the receiver, whether it's the line, whomever it is, right? Just create that high level of execution by, you know, the preparation you put into during the week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Tim.